Hello everyone, it's Lillian here from Stampers Nation. Thank you so much for joining me today. I know it's at a different time and I will be back Monday night next week. And I also know that some of you said, well, I'm going to have to watch the replay, and that's the joy of Facebook Lives. The replays are there. And if you're watching on YouTube, that's the joy of YouTube as well. It will always be there for you. So what happened last night was it was actually our anniversary, and I didn't think my husband would go for me canceling a dinner date just so that we could do a Facebook Live. So I was sure you would understand. And so that's why it's happening today at noon. All right. So I have a really neat thing to share with you today. It's something that was on the top of my wish list when the new catalog came out. And well, I've been having some fun with it. So let's go down to my desk and see what it's all about. Alrighty. Now, when I did my catalog walkthrough, sorry, there's some glare there. This page here was one that I highlighted, and I highlighted it because I love everything on here. I love this Turtle Friends stamp set. And I love everything on this one too, but particularly the die that creates this spinner card, because to me that is a card and sort of a toy as well, right? So that's why that was really at one of the top of my list. So then I'll just show you where you find it in the catalog, this die here. Sorry, I was getting my computer set up and got sidetracked. You find it on page 163, and it is right here, and it has 21 different dies that come with it. This can be used, this die set, not just for spinner cards, but all kinds of other things as well. So let's take a look and see what we have. I am just trying to get this to my group. There we go. And hopefully that'll be all good. So here's first off, the stamp set. Turtle Friends, and great words, but the cutest little turtles. And then they have the shell to go with it. And it's time to celebrate. They're having some fun with that. Then what also comes with this is you can get the punch. So I love it when I don't have to cut things out. So, oh, Judy, hi, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. This is your kind of card, I think. Anyway, so I'm using this bundle here. And then I'm going to get rid of that just so I have some room. And then I'm using this die set. This is what I call a stand-alone die set called Give It a Whirl. There's not a coordinating stamp set because it goes with so many. So yeah, the punch is back ordered, but it'll be in soon, I hope. There are huge problems with shipping, not just with Stampin' Up! With all kinds of companies, but hopefully that gets solved soon. So here's the die set here. So you've got, these are basically this one here and this one here are the guts to making the spinner card. But look at all the other things you get. You get these shapes make some of the holes. So any of the shapes that have this attached to it. So there are these ones here. They make the holes. And I'll show that in just a minute. But then they have coordinating shapes. So there are 3 different stars, 3 different clouds, 3 different hearts, 3 different clouds, some stars, and then this circle here actually would frame this circle. And then there's something for words. There's this here. There are little arrows. There are all kinds of things. So we are going to today pick out this, and this. And we're also going to just take this because we want that circle for something else and put this away. And I'm going to show you at the end the other pieces in use. So don't panic about that. The other thing that I found really helpful was to take those pieces that I was showing you, the pieces with the little circle at the end, and make a template. And this way you can go through your catalog, you can go through your stamp sets and see what would fit in those little windows. So for example, if I bring in this page here, because most of the things, hi Lynn, most of the things in the catalog, they're showing true to size. So I could take this template and, oh, look, I could make one with chocolates or cocktails, or maybe just the face of these little badgers. So you can see right away if it's going to fit in that window or not. So that making a template is a handy little thing to do. So that's my first tip. So let's bring in the pieces that we're going to use and get started. And remember, I love it. If you feel free to share this video and like it and that kind of thing. If you're on YouTube, then if you subscribe, that it really helps me a lot. So I thank you a lot for that. All right, so I'm going to use some Granny Apple Green, and it's 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. So it's your basic card front. And we'll fold that, and we've got that there. So we're going to put that to the side. We don't need it for a bit. We've got one that is 5.5 by 4, and this is where we're going to cut this out of. So I'll show you that in a minute. Then we have one that is 3 3/4 by 3 3/4, and that's where we're going to cut this piece out of. All right. And then we have some scraps. So I'm actually going to cut a circle out of here and just maybe some other things out of the scraps. And then I have a piece that is 3.5 by 4 3/4, and that's for the inside. And why is it so small? It's small because, let me just bring in a card here. When we open it up, we want it to be hidden from this opening. So there's a sneak peek of something I'm showing you at the end. So we strategically made it a little smaller so that once we get some of the cutting on the top done, it's not going to show. So this is going to be our liner. All right, so there's our liner, there's that. And what we're going to do right off the bat is bring in our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine and do a little cutting. All right. And that is one of the reasons my camera is a little higher, is because I needed you to be able to see. So for this one here, now if I was going to, on this paper here, I added some, on this card, I added some designer paper. You would add it to this before you cut it out. All right. But I'm not going to add designer paper, so I'm free to cut it out. But if you were, you add the designer paper before cutting it out, and then you're just going to put this on here and put the plate on top. Whoops. Now, if I ran it through this way, it would be tough to get it through. It's possible, but tough, because I'm going straight on. So here's another little tip. Angle it so that just the point is going in first, and it's way easier to run it through the machine. So let's get that going. Now, what I could have also run through at the same time was this piece here and the circle, but I've already cut them out for you. So just pretend that I've done that, and we'll put those to the side. But we're still going to keep this. We have one more thing to do. So now we've got this, and notice there's a little hole there, and we've got basically what's going to be the top of our card. All right. Now I chose this time to use this shape for the opening, and this is where that little circle comes in handy. You're going to line it up with the circle that the die made, like that, and then decide, let's see, where can I put this that you can see it better? Then decide where you want it to go. It can go anywhere around. For today's card, I want it to be, I think, about there. So now I've got it lined up. I'm going to use a little bit of washi tape or a post-it note would work just to hold it in place so it doesn't slip. Like that. And because it's lined up, the circle with this die cut circle there, it is going to be in the perfect spot. It's that easy. And what's more, all of it is got stitch marks around it, and it just looks fancy schmancy. So there we go. We'll just gently peel that off. Like that, and you might have some use for that at some other point, but we don't need it for this card. So we'll put this aside. And we have our basic card here. Now we can stamp it and decorate it and that kind of thing. And I actually went ahead and did that all ready for you. So I've got this. What I did is I took the clouds from the die set and cut them out of vellum, and then brought in my blending brush and I put clouds in the background. I stamped some grass and a turtle in the background here. I did a few splatters with the blending brush, and then I've got this turtle colored and ready to go. So I just wanted to, because I wanted to show you how the mechanism worked today, so I can concentrate on that. So I've got these pieces ready to go. And so let's look at this, and we're going to bring in the piece that goes underneath. So again, the circle is there. All we're going to do is line up the circles. Now I'm going to bring this in. I don't know if you can see, but when you cut it out, these pieces here do a little bit of a light emboss here, and that helps with your placement of your stamps. Now when I was first learning how to do this, I thought, well, how do you decide where to put the stamps? That's a tough one. Well, I'm going to show you a couple of ways here. So we have these great brads, and I'm going to be covering it up so it doesn't really matter, but I'll bring this one here in and just hold it together for, oh, no, what did I do with that? I'll find it later. I'll get it. Oh, there it is. So what you can do, if your stamps are small, you can just hold it lightly together with the brad, get it in the right position. Oh, here it is. No, it isn't. Oh, here we go. Sometimes I get so organized I can't remember what I did. So like this. So this is one way that you can do it. If your stamps are small, you can actually just bring in your stamps and just trying to find them here and stamp right there. So you know that they're the right size. The other thing that you could do is you could very lightly make a little pencil mark like that. And I've got a few more ideas for you. So I'm going to bring in a little bit of grass. This is Granny Apple Green. All these stamps that I'm using today are right from the turtle one. All right, so there we've got the grass. I'm going to close that up. Then we're going to make a little bluebird like this. Walking in the grass. There we go. And then from the stamp set, there's a set of words called Hello, Little One. And all I wanted was the hello. So what I did was bring in my black marker, and I'm just going to color the hello and not the other words, because this is going to be a birthday card, not a baby card. Like that. Whoops. I'm going to huff on it. That reactivates the ink, just the moisture from my breath. And hello. And now we've got that done like that. Now for my next one, I am going to do some stamping, but it's going to come off. It's going to be over. So I'm going to remove this here. Well, actually, I'm going to do the happy birthday first, just while it's there. And then show you what to do if you're doing something that would go over. And what do I mean by go over? Well, it was bigger than the opening. So I've got happy birthday in there, like that. Now I'm just going to remove the brad. These brads are so nice and soft with prongs so that they go very, very nicely. Now I want to do a bit of stamping here. I'm going to bring in the party hat, and I want to do random stamping, but I only want it in that area. So now I'm going to bring in sticky notes, and remember, I can still see where that was embossed by the arms of this. So I can see it. You might not be able to see it where you are. In fact, I'm having trouble because of the camera, but it's about like that. So now I'm just going to cover that, and I can do anything I want in this area. So I'm going to bring in a bunch of different colors of hats and go like that. And I better bring in my stamp cleaner, which I did, who knows what I did. There it is. And clean my stamp, and we'll go for the next one. Actually, I don't want that one. We are going to go with Mango Melody now. And I'm going to have hats going all directions. Clean it. And we'll throw a real red one in there. Like that. And let's see, I like an odd number. I think we need a couple more. We will throw another blue one in. Oh, just a corner here. And another red one in. Like that. Now that looks like a colossal mess. But when you peel this off, it's only going to be in that area there. So that's another way of doing it, is masking it off and doing it like that. So let me just bring this in and show you, line up my circles. And there we go. So it's all going to be good like that. So another way of doing it is lining up your circles again and getting the pie in the right spot, just like that. You can actually bring in and just softly sponge that area, and then you know to stamp where you have sponged. And that's what I did on this card here. Now, this was retired paper, but I was making this for the grandkids. So I sponged in the circle. It also sponged the circle a bit. And then you can see how the sponging showed me exactly where to stamp. So those are just some of the ways that you can figure out where to do your stamping in there. So I actually have one already completed for you, just to save a little bit of time. So I did another little turtle. I added Wink of Stella to the hats. And so there we go. It's going to look like that. So now let me just close up some ink, because it's time to start assembling, and this is so much fun. So let me get organized here. So now we have this, and again, I've lost my brad. I'll get another one. So I'm going to put it through there and through there. And sometimes I just like to give it a whirl, just to see, give it a whirl. Yep, This is very well named, this one here. Now, I find that it rotates a little bit better if you bring in a circle. So that's why we cut out that extra circle. And I'm just going to bring in my Stampin' Pierce mat and use the back of it, which's got a dimensional on it. And bring in take your pick tool, and I'm just going to put a hole in the middle. Now, the size of this circle doesn't matter. If you have a circle punch, you can use it. I did this because it was already part of the die set, and it just was handy and easy. Now, I've got the hole in it. It is going to go on here, but before I do that, oh, I forgot one step. Back this up. Sorry. One step. I need to bring in my card base. Now, if I put it here, it would be hard, if this was solid here, it would be hard to get my finger to turn this. So what I did was I brought back the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And I brought back the circle, which I'm trying to see right now. There it is. Now again, this you could do with a punch, but you've got this, so I'm just using it. So I'm centering this on the front panel of the card. I'm going to bring this in and rest it right there. So that's what's the process is happening right here. So I'm centering it. So this is where it's going to be when the card is finished. I'm bringing this in, and you can almost feel it catch there. Now I'm going to hold it down and slide this out. And I'm actually going to slide this in just a smidge more, hold it in place and cut. And what I'm doing is making a little opening for my fingers. So if your fingers are nimble, or the people you're giving it to are nimble, you don't need to do this step. But I just found it was just actually made things nice and handy. So we'll move that out of the way. And now we've made a little opening for this, and then when we do the spinner, it's going to be easy to do. So that's just a little tip there. So now we will back up and start fastening things together. Put the brad through here. And then, whoops, I squished the brad with the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And then through here. Just a second. There we go. And then before we put this one on, now I've done it both ways, and both ways work. You can just put it on flat. I like to put a few dimensionals here. And the reason I do is I find it just helps to give it space to move. So I'll put one here. I'm staying clear of the center, so they're on the outer edges, sort of in a triangle shape, just to give a little support there. And so the dimensionals are going down onto the wheel like that. And then open up your prongs. And I like to bring my bone folder in and just flatten them a bit. And now we have the basic thing. All we have to do is fasten it to here. And I'll show you ways of dressing up that part too. But that's how easy it is to come together. So now we do need to put this, raise it up. So we need to either put dimensionals on here, which I have done, but I am finding I really, really like to use the foam adhesive strips. They come, they're 9¼ inches long. I often cut them in half to begin with. And then to use on here, I just cut, you can see that I cut sections. So I'm going to cut a bit here and use these. These are just a smidge thicker than dimensionals, and they're so easy to use. You just love, I knew you would love this, Judy. I knew it. Actually, I love it too. And we both like these kinds of things. And wait till you see some of the other samples I did. I am a little addicted. I would say I have a problem. So now I'm going to cut some just a smidge smaller. I do not want to get close to the wheel. I want it to be able to spin freely. And those of you who know me know I love embellishments, but you notice I did not put any embellishments on here because that would jam things up, right? And I'm going to bring in some small ones. Again, I'm giving support, but I am not getting in the way of that wheel. And I need to cut these. There we go. Here we go, like that. So you can see how that really will help. So we'll peel that off. Maybe I better use this. Usually I don't have any issues, but I'm on camera, right? And so my fingernails don't want to work. But the take your pick tool is my friend. So this is why I call this card also a toy, because once you get started, you just want to keep playing. So here we go. Now you're just going to center it here. You've already got this opening in the correct spot. So you're going to center it. Now this panel doesn't give you equal borders. Your top and bottom is going to be a little narrower, and I'm going to give you an option in a minute as to what you can do. And you're going to put it down. And look at it go. Oh, we're in business. Okay, now to cover the brad, you can incorporate the brad as part of your design if you want. You could always bring in a blends and color it so it would match your paper, whatever you're using. But what I am going to do, and where did my little, oh, here's my little turtle. I am going to put my turtle here, and his head is going to cover the brad, and that will solve that problem. So bring in some dimensionals. And I think I need a mini here. And I don't want to put one right where the brad's going to be. So let me see. So I need to put it down this way. The reason I don't want to put it where the brad is because then the head would be a little bit higher. The brad would push it up a little bit higher. So I want to keep it all pretty even. And I've got the space here, so I can even have the tail hang over a little bit like that. And there we go. I could add embellishments like rhinestones and stuff to the main part of the card. I could add a wiggly eye, that kind of thing, and it would all work. And then we can put this in here. So what I did was stamped the little turtle, and it will go in here like that. And we have our card made. Isn't that fun? So let me show you some other variations. I have been having some fun. I need to tell you that. So I showed you this one here where I made it with the whales, and I cut the turtles out. And I tried to do a layer of cardstock there. I didn't cut it quite big enough, so it just barely shows, but you can see where I was going with that. Glad you like it, Fran. And so this one I used the pie shape. This one I used the circle. This one I used the rectangle, and I put it down below. And the stars are from the ombre specialty paper. And this time, to sort of center this, I put a strip of cardstock here to decorate it, but I glued that right down to the card base and glued it down well so that again it would not get in the way of the wheel turning. So can you see there, it's glued right to the card base. And then this little strip of paper is covering the brad here. So there's another variation there. So there's that one. Then there's this one with the hearts. So I've got all four of the different openings. So this would make a great anniversary card. Whoops, I put it going the wrong direction. So there are little arrows, and I need to back up and show you the arrows. And so the arrow shows you the way to go. So let me just bring this back in. That was something I meant to show you. There's die even to cut out the arrows. Now I use adhesive sheets on the back, so it's already sticky. If I wanted a different color, I could color it, but for this particular card, it works just fine being white. So let's take this arrow right here, peel the sticky backing off, likely the hardest part of the whole thing. There we go. And I want the wheel to go say like a hello, happy birthday. So I want them to spin it that direction. So I can put this here, and it even even shows you what way to spin it. I love that idea. So we've got those. Okay, let's bring this back in. You can also use the dies just to make a regular card. I used some of the heart dies and just made this card. It doesn't spin. It doesn't do anything. I got this idea from a UK demonstrator, Stacey Morse. She did a square one with 9 hearts. But that's where that idea came from. And then this one is just a work in progress. This paper that I cut this out of arrived last night. It's coming, and I just put mounted some of the designer paper onto some cardstock so it was nice and firm, and I cut it out, and I just mounted this on the brad that's in the middle, and I didn't do any windows, and so this polar bear is just going to go like that, so you can have him doing cartwheels. I have a granddaughter who's really into cartwheels, so that's another option. So there you can use the dies the way that they were designed to be used. You can use them this way without having the window. You can use them just to make regular types of cards without that motion involved. So the Give It a Whirl dies, they have a huge bang for your buck. There's tons of potential, and I hope you've caught the vision a little bit here. Just a couple of the turtle ones. I shared this. I'm doing my random abstract, jumping around. Shared this yesterday, I think it was, on Facebook, cutting the center of the turtle out with I think it was a 1-inch circle, and doing that. And several of you have already found me some green Lindor chocolate, so that's great. That's another little thing with the turtle. Here's a little box with the turtle, and there's a little bow for her hair. So there's that. And this is a work that hasn't happened yet, but I was thinking, could we use the dies, the Give It a Whirl dies, with the baseball cap? And so I've been playing around, and you can use the dies so they go this way too. And I need to work on my placement just a little. It's a work in progress, but you can see that there is potential here that you could change what's showing up in the cap. So I've nearly got that figured out, just not quite. I didn't get it figured out for today, but I hope that's inspired you. The polar bear, well, I have to admit, somebody else came up with that idea before me, but I loved it just like you guys, and I had to copy it. I think this penguin's going to look cute there. I've got some other ideas for this type of card as well. And I did here again, I just mounted some cardstock along the bottom just to add a little bit of contrast. I used the clouds that I used on our card today, the mask, and just made the clouds in the background. So just some tons of fun with this Give It a Whirl dies. So hope that's inspired you. And even if you're just wanting to make a regular card, you could do that. But it's just so much fun to use these dice. And once you use them once, you'll realize how really easy it is to make it all work and go together. So again, thank you for joining me. Stay nice and cool in this warm weather and have some crafting fun. And when you do craft, I love to see what you make. So please share it here. And thank you so much. Oh, if you do share this video, please write the word share in the comment section. And then I know that you've done it. Then I can maybe send you a little card or something. All right. So thank you so much. Take care and bye-bye.